What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Coach Rhodes. I'm in Coach Bird.
What's up?
Got a special guest today, Coach Brandon Simmons. Coach, I'm gonna let you introduce him.
Great young man. I've known him since middle school. I probably coached him more than anybody in his career. I mean, him and his brother come in and played middle school for me. Played middle school basketball, football. I moved up with him in high school. I was his JV coach, and his last 2 years I was his offensive coordinator. Made me look very good. I think him and his brother was probably the best duo package any coach could get.
Yeah.
I mean, you knew they were going to play for each other, they were going to block for each other, but they became real close friends with him. I still stayed in touch with him. He went on after Hockman went to Little City State.
Yes, sir. Little City State.
And after that, he said, well, we'll try to go to Pirate Nation.
Yep.
And that's a true story now. And he ended up walking on at East Carolina.
Yep.
Now, you and Jason walked on, right, Coach?
Yes, we did.
Together at the same time?
Yeah, same time.
That's awesome.
And the funny part about it is that what people don't realize is that, when we transferred from Elizabeth City State to ECU, we had to sit out that fall.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we had to sit out that fall, and we were not allowed to work out with the team. We were not allowed to do anything with the team. So we had to lean on our own discipline to stay in shape and keep our academics up to get ready for the spring. And a lot of people don't even know that. But
That's wild. I didn't know that. And that's nuts.
That's impressive, and y'all ended up making the team.
Yeah, made the team.
And a lot of people have walked on and made teams, but that wasn't the big gist of it. I mean, you ended up starting as tailback the last year. I mean, a lot of people make a football team Division I, but he ended up his hard work, and then started. And Jason played a lot.
Yeah, Jason did play a lot. Like you said, first we had to make the team, and then after that, you have to earn your keep through summer workouts, which is hard. And then after that, you have to figure out a way to get onto the field. So how do you get onto the field? Special teams.
Yeah.
Special teams. And through the special team opportunity, Coach Hargrave gave us a chance. And the saying goes, hey, if we can trust you on special teams, we can trust you in the 2D. And that is how we got onto the bus at our primary position. But if it wasn't for the special teams, we wouldn't have played. I wouldn't have played tailback, and Jason wouldn't have played fullback. That's just what it was.
Well, I know you shortchanged, but I also went to some East Carolina clubs. and I've talked to several coaches, and I talked about the Simmons boys, and they said y'all were probably too hard-nosed.
Oh, yeah.
They said every drill, it didn't matter, you jumped in. It didn't matter if it was number one running back, number one linebacker. I mean, they said you were just, your work ethic and stuff like that. And that's the same way it was in high school with you. I remember seeing y'all run from your house sometimes.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to say. A lot of that came from high school.
Yeah.
Again, I remember times where you'll drop us off, right, and then you'll leave, right. But about 5 minutes later, you'll see us on the hill right beside 40, sprinting up and down, because the high school, again, we appreciated the practice structure. We knew in order to compete on the collegiate level, coming from a winning school, we had to do a little bit more. But a lot of those values that we displayed at East Carolina, we learned that in high school, because being from Sampson County, Eastern North Carolina, there's only one way, and that's just to work hard and be blue collar about it. So a lot of the stuff that we learned came directly from school.
That's awesome. And I tell you, so we were talking a little bit before we got started here today, just Coach Simmons is obviously our first guest. And, we talk about our name being unscripted coaches. And we've got ideas, what we want to discuss. And it's funny that he's bringing all this stuff up, because that was one of my ideas. I just kind of wanted to hear that story. And, I hear it all over everything Coach has said so far is, work ethic and determination. I was a young pup when Coach was in high school, and I remember hearing, our schools were really close together. Coach Bird actually lived like 5 minutes from my house growing up, and I knew him, and right across the street from one of my good buddies, and so we were always talking Hockman and the Simmons brothers, and you kept hearing it. And man, I remember the first game I saw, it was like, we had a good team too at North Duplin, but these guys were just, they were different, man.
Yeah.
And you don't hear that story. It's so funny because you see that, but later Coach Bird told me about Coach Simmons and his brother running to practice, and now you hear him talking about run up the hill. And from an early, obviously, I hear from an early stage in your life, college sports was what you wanted to do, Coach.
And absolutely. And to add on to that, we also had some great teammates that was all about the hard work. The Kyle Westbrooks, the David Baggett, the Michael Baggett, the Jonas Crumplers, the Dwight Merritt, Cody Langston, like all of the guys, Stacey Williams. I mean, I can go on and on, but that's what they did. That's what we did, and we played outside. We didn't stay inside a lot. I mean, he coached us in so many sports. We'll play basketball, and then we'll play football, and then the winter time, we'll if we wasn't a part of springtime, if we wasn't a part of a track and field program or baseball, we're out there working out. Many times we'll be working out before we play basketball. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of that stuff, we can sit back and laugh about it, but without that mentality, which is like, hey, look, I got to figure out a way to make it to the next level, because that's what we want to do. The only way that you can make it to the next level in anything, profession, athletically, is if you work hard and just get it done and don't make any excuse.
And I think obviously I believe in some God-given abilities too, being a part of that equation, and that is there, but you've got to match it with what you do and how you go about it. And the thing that I love right there is you were talking about all your teammates. That's how small town football.
Yes.
That's how you survive. Some places are small and they can just cycle through because it's true talent just rolling all the time. But I bet you some of them guys you just talked about, Coach, they probably weren't the most talented in the world.
Role players.
But you look at, that's like myself. I didn't have the most athleticism, but I grew up with a group of guys and we were together all the time. It might not be the whole group, but you're going to see 2 or 3 at somebody's house. We didn't live side by side. We had to work it out. But you were in the yard. You were playing basketball. You were wrestling on a trampoline. You were playing one-on-one. With a football. You were rotating through on who was passing. And I was fortunate enough to play on some pretty good teams my junior and senior year too. And I look back and I hear everything Coach is saying. And to young people who we talk about, the majority of us are not going to play college sports, but you love it anyways.
Yes.
And if you want to maximize, if that's a goal of yours, pursue it. And I hope and pray that you make it. But if you just want to enjoy your high school career, I still think you need to do some of the same things Coach has talked about.
Absolutely.
And to me, that's what the high school sport should be about.
Yes.
But I love it, man. That's a great story. So
Brandon matured. I know, like middle school. I forget the hard, a little hard here, boy. But they matured a lot. And I don't even know if you remember, Brandon. You always used to say you wanted to play, and people could say that, play college football. And like I was told y'all before, football's a hard sport. Everybody can't play it. Everybody can't play football. You can play them other sports, but it's a hard football, and you put the time in it. But I remember one time, you and Jason said y'all were either going to play college football or be rappers. You remember that CD? You remember that CD? I still got that thing.
That's at my mom's house too. I do remember that.
He said, Coach, bro, listen to this thing. So I'm glad you chose that football. But it was actually good though, man. It was about your sophomore year.
But what happened was, so with that, because my older brother, he was the one that was financing it, but what happened was, it started becoming too much and we had to make a decision. So for example, what people don't know is, when we weren't playing basketball in the wintertime, or if we wasn't doing football specific stuff, he would take us to play teams in basketball. I remember in middle school, for example, we played like Trinity Prep, something like that, right? But that's what we did, so he kept us active. But it got to the point that sophomore year where, I had to make a decision. And I still have a passion for music.
Yeah.
However, I couldn't do both because I either committed to being a student athlete, which is keeping your grades up and all that good stuff, which is what they will always say, or go all in on the entertainment piece. And I'm glad I made a decision because it's time consuming. Like both of them are time consuming, and it's hard to do 2 things like that at the same time. It just is. But that's a good story. I remember.
Hey, but and you and Coach were talking about earlier about y'all offense people, and that's what I called and with you.
Mm-hmm.
But You made my play calling a whole lot simpler. You know, you always hear these coaches says, well, you need to know what you're going to run at the end of the game. I never thought that. I always thought it was, I need to know who the player is going to get the ball.
Yes.
And a lot of people just call plays. And I
Yeah.
said, if it becomes a certain situation, I know who I want to get the ball to. And like, you know, we went deep in the playoffs and got beat by the defending state champion.
Yeah, yep.
And we had Elkin that year.
Yep.
And we were bleeding and had a few things here. But the last play was the post wheel, and it was open. Jones just got hit.
Yeah,
we just didn't get a block.
It was an underthrow, yeah.
But there was no doubt who I was going to.
But in that year, that particular year, every time we call that play, every time you call that play, we scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
Every single time. Against Wallace Rose Hill, against every single team, we scored a touchdown. You know, but it boils down to execution. But what I remember most about those adjustments in the playbook was, we were just talking about this before, you know, we were a primary wing T team, and we even won a JV championship with it, with undefeated, with the wing T. But what you noticed was, you know, going into our junior senior year, you know, you have more I backs, you have more downhill backs. So they introduced the I formation, which some people are like, oh, what's that? But he introduced the I formation, and that made us feel a little bit more comfortable. And Jonas can throw the ball, which is why he's added a sprinkle of spread stuff. But we still had our wing T stuff as well, you know. So I appreciate you guys for making those small adjustments, because it made us as players feel a lot more comfortable.
And I wasn't real smart, but I got a 200-pound fullback and a 180-pound tailback. I said, well, I got to kind of see what we can do there. But it opened up a lot of the play action and stuff, because they had his key on you.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoy coaching you. I mean, I went to East Carolina games. I always loved y'all boys, and I mean, unfortunately, Jason passed away, and I mean, that was a tough time, but it was a privilege coaching y'all and kind of keeping up with your career and stuff.
Yeah. Appreciate your support over the years, man. And I don't know if you remember the story, but years ago, you were like, hey, when you start playing, that's when I'm gonna start going to the games. Yeah. And I'll never forget, we was stretching, was getting ready to play, I think like UVA, and you called from the fence, hey, Brandon. I was like, yo, who is that? You were like, hey, I told you, and I saw you out there, man. That meant the world, man. Which is why even now, you know, when you know, former players that I once coached go off to school and play, you know, I go out of my way to try to support them the best way I can. You know, if I can't be there physically, I'll take a picture of the game and say, hey, man, I was looking at you. Because that support goes a long way, but we appreciate that, for sure.
And I was telling Coach and him, you know, you get a lot, you know my style, Coach. It ain't changed none either, Coach. And I mean, and I used to tell people, I said, I don't think it made Brandon and John, all them boys, any think bad of them. I just think it made them tougher and stuff, and they respect and stuff. Nowadays, you get on kids that just can't handle certain situations. The coach has to deal with it. Well, so you got to kind of format yourself to what kind of kid you coach.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think, and we're going to get to this in a little bit for sure, but, you know, Coach Simmons is highly active in clinics, and he's got a great podcast I want him to talk about, too, that he's starting. And the thing that I love about what you just said is Coach Bird was constantly there for you, and you saw that.
Yep.
And now Coach Simmons is going, he's just doing the same thing.
That's it.
He's pouring right back into people, you know, and the clinics and stuff. And I think that the more we do that, you know, just the better off we are. But one thing that I picked up on one of Coach Simmons' recent episodes was just talking about, and it's actually hit in multiple, but this one seemed like it just kept hitting me in the face. You got to be authentic in who you are. You know, and I coach differently than Coach Bird. That doesn't mean I don't think he's an effective coach. And Coach Simmons, I've never seen him firsthand. I've heard him speak. There's probably some things that we do differently. But there's one thing that's going to be similar amongst all good coaches, in my opinion. That's going to be they stay true to who they are as their character. And I think what gets people in trouble is, and what Coach Bird's talking about is, he's loud and he's aggressive, right? Yeah. But he does it from a place of love, and he's consistently that way. And when you do something right, he's going to give you love too. I think what gets coaches in trouble is when they try to be their buddies, and they try to develop what I would call a soft relationship or friendship. And then in that crunch time, when something doesn't go right, and the kid doesn't execute the way you want to, or you need to be corrective, now you jump timing on that young man or young woman, depending on what you're
They
playing. And they can't handle that because that's not who you've been to that point, you know? And that's like, for me, you know, I'm more monotone and I'm going to try to talk to you one-on-one. But then the way I develop the relationships, I think when I do pop, you know, I get to that point and I have that sharp tone, it's in line with who I am, and it's not over the top. And I think that I try to make sure my kids know where I'm coming from, but it's all about being true to yourself. And I think that, like I said, that was, I can't remember who it was, maybe Coach Buck. To me, that's the story, man, of being a coach. And we talk about, you know, winning and losing. It's obviously important to us, but Coach Bird clearly has made a huge impact on Coach Simmons as his coach. He's made a huge impact on me, as many other coaches have, just working with him and seeing him. And now, you know, Coach Simmons, we don't see each other on a regular basis, but the things that he's doing and the way he's sharing, you know, I'm into that. And he's making an impact. I think that's what it's about, man.
And you kind of being there at this, you know, people always want to play college football.
Yeah.
What you think you need? Because this is coming from somebody who's played Division I and walking on. What you think some of the things they need to focus on?
The main thing is, you know, at the end of the day, you know, to add on to what you guys just said about relationships. I mean, you know, we hear the word. I hear the word used a lot. I personally think that, you know, it's a cliche because it's being used loosely. So what does that mean? My definition is it just means being consistent, being who you are, being authentic, be intentional, right? Just being intentional. You know, I view coaching maybe a little bit different from some, maybe not. But at the end of the day, I'm like this. You know, be the same person every day. Okay. You know, my goal as a coach is to mentor. Okay. I can be friendly. That's not a problem. My goal is to help you get to the next level, whatever that level is. But to add on to what you just said about the whole college thing, the first question I ask is do you want to play? And you got to have that conversation, because if you don't want to play college football, that's fine. It's fine with me, because we're coaching in high school because we need to build young men and women. That's just what it is. But if you do want to play college football, well, there's a checklist that you have to get completed. I mean, for example, you have to maintain a good GPA. We were just talking about that, right? And while we played, they will always talk about it. You have to keep your grades up. Your tape is your resume. Just call them for what it is. And it's nothing personal, but it is a business. And if you are this elite person on tape, then the colleges will find you, okay? But most importantly, you got to stay out of trouble. You got to have good character, or at least decent character. You have to be willing to work out, and you really have to love the sport. And I think that that's the part that a lot of the people don't really understand. You might think that you love the sport until you go to the college and you're there and they're shoveling that sport down your throat. And the question is, you know, if that coaching staff leaves, do you still want to be there? You know, and that's just the cold hard truth about it. But I will say that a number of our athletes that are going to get that opportunity to play on the next level, we have those conversations with the guys at an early age, and we try our best to run our program as close to a collegiate program as possible without blurring the lines of academics not being important. So we're pretty transparent with them. And the goal is to be the same person every single day, and just tell them the truth, you know. But you can't really tell them the truth until they know that you care about them and that you're there for them.
Because it is a job.
It's a job.
That next level is a job.
Yes, it's a job. It's a job.
And we had a young girl that's at Carolina this year playing softball. It's your team.
Yes,
it's a job.
It's a job.
And it's a job. Just because you were a big fish at a high school, you're a baby when you go there. There's a lot of men out there.
And it starts over.
It's just like you're a freshman again in high school.
Yeah, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah, and I think, I think just hearing that, and then it just keeps going back to the same thing. I've been around a little while. I've heard, I want to play college ball. Some of those kids get a chance. And not just from our school, but other schools. I mean, I follow athletes, other local athletes, and they get a chance, and then they don't.
Guess where that
in a year or two.
January to home.
So believe it or not, getting to college is easy. That's the easy part. Staying in college is the hard part.
Yeah.
Because the question is, are you willing to work despite not being the alpha?
Yeah.
Are you okay with being the fifth string? Now, it's not to say that you can't work your way into a slot like a top 2 to 3 at your position.
Right.
But if your positional coach don't allow you to get that opportunity because you're redshirted, are you still going to show up and work?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you still going to go to class despite your mom or dad not waking you up? Like, or do you have the discipline to go to class? Do you have the discipline to travel across the country, work on an assignment the night before the game, and turn it in on time? Like, do you have that type of discipline? Because I experienced that, and I mean, I remember vividly, traveling to southern Mississippi. Okay, but I had a computer science program I had to turn in on the bus, and I didn't have Wi-Fi, so I was struggling to get that turned in. I remember going to Texas, when we played Rice, the same thing. So the professors are going to still teach you at the highest level of their student. So just because you're a student athlete doesn't mean that they're going to take it easy on you. If anything, they're going to tighten up on you because some of them view you as being entitled. So the question I always ask the athletes is, are they ready for that? And if you are ready for it, well, pursue it. But if you're not, make sure that you have a plan when you graduate.
Cut back.
Well,
Absolutely.
And Coach, if you talk about that, let's say you've got a young man who says, like he's hit all these check boxes, but I'm not saying anything about the high school setting, but I know just going from a student in high school, and I was A's, couple B's here and there type student, top 10, top 15 of my class. When I got to East Carolina, just a student, it is so different. Like, what if you were telling a young man right now or a young woman who's going off to college and they're pursuing athletics, what is just one or two things that maybe help them transition into that?
My first question that I would ask them is, what are you going to major in?
Mm-hmm.
Is it undecided? Okay, fair enough. But that's only going to get you through your first year.
Okay.
But you need to go ahead and start having in mind what you want to major in, because that major ultimately is going to dictate your schedule. Okay, it's going to stress you out. If you have labs at 6 and 7 o'clock, well, that's a conflict of interest because practices are going to start at like 4 and bleed into 7 o'clock. That's just what it is. But what is your major? Are you okay with going to study hall after practice?
Yeah.
Are you okay with 8 o'clock classes? You got to have 8 o'clock classes because you need to be done by 12 o'clock. Your time management. Are you going to sleep through your alarm clock or are you going to get up? Those are the type of questions that I would ask them. And then once they answer those questions, I will try my best to point them in the right direction. Because without those hard and soft skills, without mother and father and coach hovering over you, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard.
It's the distractions.
Yeah,
because I didn't play the college. But when I went to East Carolina, I was like, coming from Facebook, I was like, man,
this is the life right here.
Yeah, I mean, you got something going on every night. There's something going on every day, and you just got. And then when you're an athlete, they want you to be at the parties and whatever going on.
Yes.
But it's just so many distractions.
You said you went to 3 bowl games while you were at ECU.
Yep, had a chance to be a part of 3 teams. The PapaJohns.com Bowl, which was in Birmingham, Alabama. That's my sophomore year.
Okay.
Junior year, the Hawaii Bowl in Hawaii, and in my senior year, the Liberty Bowl, AutoZone Liberty.
I'm gonna test my knowledge here.
All right, here we go.
I know the Hawaii Bowl was Boise.
Yep.
Yeah.
We played Boise and we beat them.
Yep.
Okay, in Hawaii, which is awesome. All right. The Liberty Bowl, that was Arkansas. Okay, hold on.
Let me guess.
Hold on.
I'm gonna say that.
It's SEC.
It's
Kentucky.
Yes,
Kentucky. Okay, all right.
Yep.
So Kentucky. I want to hit this because I want to get on this. But the Papa John's. All right. That one's got me stumped completely.
Big East team. At the time, they were a Big East team, and at the time they ended up sending a cornerback to the Dallas Cowboys. He was a first-round pick.
Oh.
Another hint. They're green and white, and gold.
White and gold.
And they're not Notre Dame.
USF.
Yep. So,
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
USF.
USF, okay.
USF, yeah.
Yeah, because I was trying to get them right because that was before they did all the shuffle.
Mhm.
That's crazy, man.
And talking about the bowl games, I know it's got to be a great experience. And
Huge.
I know football is big on brotherhood, and all sports are, and how you. And we've had a talk several shows about it.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got kids just, and our opinion is probably gonna be different than yours. You got kids just opting out to play in bowl games.
Yeah.
I mean, you play all year, and then you.
Just one game,
and then you just opt out, and you kind of. I know rosters are deep, and there's other people get chances, but I'm not real big on that. I mean, I know if you're a top 1, 2, 3, 4 pick, maybe if you're financial, but man, you went that far with your brothers and stuff. Why not just finish out and accomplish something? I mean, accomplish something. That's what you play for, bowls and stuff.
Yeah, well, I will say this. I think it should be handled case by case, right? I mean, for example, if you're a guaranteed lottery pick, because all of them get a draft grade. However, I've seen it work both ways. I've seen it where players use the bowl game to take the next step. For example, my old teammate Chris Johnson, people didn't know who he was until he exploded against Boise.
And they did after that, didn't they?
But I've also seen it where first round pick players got hurt and they dropped in the draft as well. So I've seen it happen both ways. But I will say this. So I don't have a dog in the fight there, but I will say this with confidence that it's a great experience.
Yeah.
And when my career is said and done, but I oftentimes reflect on those great bowl experiences we had. Without the bowl
without
games,
the game, it's the other stuff.
Yeah. It's a full week full of activities. I mean, for example, and I'll just zip through this without being long-winded. PapaJohns.com Bowl, that whole week we had a chance to just see what Birmingham was about. Went to the Civil Rights Museum. We broke bread, with our teammates. We got a chance to play bowling. We got cool gifts, watches, all that good stuff, right? The junior year, got a chance to be in Hawaii. Was in Hawaii for a whole week. Got a chance to go to Luau's. Got a chance to see Pearl Harbor, right? Again, stuff that we wouldn't have seen without it, right? Yeah. We got a chance and it was nice in December. It was like 70 degrees, right? While it was raining here. Then my senior year, in Memphis, we got a chance to see the Civil Rights Museum where Martin Luther King was assassinated. Got a chance to see that. Got a chance to play bowl games. There's a lot of great memories that was. We went to Graceland.
Yeah.
Okay, went to Graceland as well. Got a chance to see the Elvis estate. So there's a lot of cool activities that was tied into the game. Right. And make no mistake, you go to the bowl games to win. But I truly appreciate the experiences that we had leading up to the games.
And this is probably go into what Coach wants to talk about a little bit. I understand what you're saying about the bowls and stuff, but there's a lot of kids now, they get in the portal and don't go participate in the bowl.
Yeah.
That's what you played with them. Yeah. And I think the portal's a scapegoat for some people because now, like you said, I go there the first year and that 3 stars out beating, I was a 5-star, but he's starting, I'm going to go somewhere else and play. They don't stay in the work ethic.
Yeah. Let's go back to the beginning of this when Coach was talking about transferring and having to sit out.
Oh, man.
That don't even exist anymore, does it?
Nah, it doesn't.
And him and his brother and others, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
Go all that time and have to do things on their own.
Yes.
And stuck it out. And then he got to experience that stuff. And if you go back to the beginning, so many people from small towns like we come from are like, hey, I want to go to college. I want to play college ball. I want to do this so that I can experience things that otherwise I wouldn't have the opportunity. We got a lot of kids that can't pursue, they're not athletic enough. They go to the military, to serve their country, but at the same time, like, Coach, I want to be able to experience stuff. I want to travel. I want to do this, and the military's going to give me these opportunities. He just hit on the Civil Rights Museum. He talked about Pearl Harbor. Those are places I'd love to visit. I'd love to go to. And I don't know that I'll ever get there.
A lot of people won't ever get there.
Yeah, I might can make it to Memphis or Birmingham where those museums are, but to Pearl Harbor. I would love to see that place. And and the thing that bothers me the most, I 100% appreciate what Coach Simmons said about draft grades and elevating and risk, and you got to weigh that. But these cats that are hitting it, I'm with Coach Bird, these cats that are hitting it for the portal, that's frustrating to me. And if you get in that portal and you don't ever get a chance to go, or really you just cut yourself short, because that's one bowl trip that you'll never get back.
Well, I'll say this right here about the portal, because I still keep in contact with a number of my former athletes, and the best advice that I'll give anyone that's thinking about it is, hey, listen, at the end of the day, do whatever you feel like you need to do for you and your family. However, understand the risk that's associated with it. For example, if you haven't played, if all you have is practice tape, you need to think long and hard before you put your name into the portal.
Yep.
Because more often than not, when you enter the portal, you have to play a level down. It's very seldom that you transfer horizontally. The only way you can really transfer horizontally, for example, like go from a Power 5 to another Power 5, is if you played in meaningful games. But if you didn't play, you have to be okay with playing a slant down. So if you were a Power 5, you have to be okay with playing at a G5, group of 5.
All right, Coach. The portal, the NIL deals and stuff, and I'll let Coach Rose get into it because he likes to talk about that stuff too. You think athletes are now becoming more me players than team players?
Well,
because of the money.
I think it's a combination of both. I think that more and more of the athletes are, independent contractors, but I do think that they are still bought into the team element. It's just more often now, you have a lot of athletes that come from these families with bad situations, and they feel the pressure of trying to deliver and trying to be the meal ticket, the help fix the finances. But I think ultimately, man, it boils down to the university knowing who they're signing and recruiting the best athlete that fits their program. But it's the Wild Wild West out here.
I know you probably know, and I know players are going into coaches' offices right now and say, look, if I don't get this and this, I'm leaving. You think that'll ever come down to the high school? They say, look, coach, if I can't get so-and-so carries, I'm going to go out and say, I'm going to go to James Kingdom. You think that's going to come?
Well, I think that's already happening in certain sports.
Especially we don't hear about it down in this but up where you're bigger school.
It's already happening, but something that my old ball coach expressed to me many times, back in the day was this. He never promises starting jobs, but he will promise the athlete an opportunity to compete for the job. And that way, if it works out for the athlete, great. But if it doesn't, you can't say, "Oh, coach guaranteed."
Yeah, he promised me to be playing time. Yeah, I've asked people like that and say, "I thought I was gonna play." You just gotta earn. You still gotta earn.
Yeah, absolutely. You learn a lot from earning it.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. Well, Coach, I know you've got a couple different things. You've got your training stuff that you're doing. I've seen some kids go through there. We got some guys that have had an opportunity to work with you some. And now you got your Twitter account, which has been awesome, by the way. I think it's a fantastic resource. But I think, Coach, and we love our podcast. We just enjoy it. We hope more and more people will watch it. But I think your podcast that you do, and I'll let you go into the details, the names, and all that, is fantastic. And I would encourage any young coach or any kid who might be in college or whatever, if you got any aspirations of becoming a coach of any sport, I think you need to tap into Coach's podcast and hear the different perspectives that he's bringing on, because that's what I love about it, man. You're bringing guys in from everywhere.
Yes.
And that, I grew up under, at North Duplin, I know how our coaches coach, and it was a great experience. I think the more you can hear other people talk and you see different perspectives, you can become your own coach, taken from different people. Yes. And Coach, that's what you talk about.
Yeah, so it's a branch off of the NC Football Connections, and I encourage all North Carolina coaches to give it a follow on X. The goal there is to make everyone aware of job opportunities, coaching clinic opportunities, but most importantly, professional development. But the channel is a YouTube channel. The 365 podcast, the purpose is to bring awareness to all high school, just general high school subjects. But like you said, up there's defensive coaches talking ball, there's offensive coaches talking ball, but we also have professional development from a head coaching lens as well. And most recently, what got uploaded up there was all episodes from the lineman clinic. So I had a chance last Saturday to go to South Carolina, and I sat through an offensive and defensive line clinic, and I got a chance to get all the sessions up there. So we talking about college coaches from Catawba and Campbell University and even high school is all up there sharing some of the things that make their positional group successful. But the goal is to bring awareness to the profession and to help teach coaches to take that next step without any prior knowledge. So for example, if you never coached defensive line before, guess what? If you watch one of those clinics, okay, you can take some indie work, listen to a college defensive line coach talk about it, and then maybe implement it into your scheme, you know. So but I'm very passionate about it. I started it in December. The following is continuing to pick up, and I'm very excited about the direction of the channel.
All season 365
All season
podcast.
365 podcast.
So it's a great show, and we just keep coming back full circle, and Coach giving back and paying forward too to the younger generation that's coming. And obviously, again, if you're tuning in late, the very beginning he talked about his early days with Coach Bird, Coach Mallard. I'm assuming was there.
Coach Britt,
Al Britt. I mean, some of the best football coaches in this area. Coach Simmons had an opportunity, and he learned different things from each one of them.
Yes, everyone. I mean, Coach Al Peacock, he was on the defensive side as well.
Let me tell you something.
Peacock helped, and what people don't know, Peacock helped us in basketball.
Yeah, he did.
And he was one of the better athletes ever come out of Hoffman. People don't realize that.
I'll tell you, I used to always remember seeing Coach Peacock, and I told Bird this. I was like, who is that guy? Because everywhere, it's like, you see him, there's Bird.
Everywhere.
You see Bird, and there was Coach Peacock. And then I got the name. I don't think I've ever actually met him in person, but
stand-up guy.
He is a huge influence too, right?
Yeah, all the coaches, and what we appreciate most about is that all these coaches, they coach all sports.
Yep.
So the same expectation that we had in football was carried over into basketball. It was just a different sport. And track, it was just a different sport. And by coaches coaching multiple sports like that, I think that it brought us all closer. And at the end of the day, we knew what they stood for. And our ultimate goal was to help the athletic department to take that next step in the state of North Carolina, So yeah, that was.
And when them coaches tell you, and I still do it, Dan Coach doesn't do, when they graduate, and I told y'all, I said, you ever did anything?
Every year.
But the people think he ain't, but hey, I've helped a lot of people, and if somebody come talk, that's why I think our podcast, I think our podcast is as good as anything out there, because most of them are these are celebrities talking, but we're kind of just local, we talk about things in a different perspective.
Where we stay true to who we are.
That's it.
And we're not trying to, we don't get ever bash people. I might say some crazy stuff, and we might do some different challenges, but it comes down to what we've experienced at these local, smaller people. I mean, I know the Kelsey board, they got podcast, you hear the ESPN's got all that stuff, but it's just different.
Yeah, well, I will say this, what we appreciate most about our coaches is that, over the years, I mean, I'm no longer playing at Hopton. You're no longer coaching me at Hopton, but we still keep in contact, I still never forgot when Daddy Bird, your father, gave me a call before we played Clayton. He was just checking in, like, hey man, how you doing? It was great to hear from him, so a lot of those types that you guys have implemented in us, I do the same thing. Like I'll still, hey, call a Tyler Sneed, hey man, how you doing, man? Matt McKay, what you got going on, man? Larry Roundtree, what's up, man? What's going on? Tyson Jackson, the list goes on. Blair Alexander, just to see how they're doing. And I don't want to take up too much of your time because I understand that they're busy, but at the same time, it's always good to just check in, to see how they're doing. And we learned a lot of that from our coaches.
Because that's memories, man. I can't tell you every class I took in high school, but I know we won a state championship in 1989. I can tell you every player on that team, and that's what I tell the other line of basketball. I say, guys, you're going to remember these kind of games. This is what you're going to talk about 20 years. You ain't going to talk about what I did in second period.
Exactly.
Hell, I don't even know what I did in second period.
And I know Coach said, sometimes it's a cliche and stuff, but that's when the relationship piece is legitimate. It's like he said, it's authentic, it's intentional, and you're there for each other, man. And it may be it might be 5 years before you talk to one of them kids, but you know something's coming up in their life, and you just want to let them know, hey man, I still remember you, and I'm here behind you, and you know, just give them that thing.
So don't take it hard when one of them dig in and get on you.
That's right.
Don't take it hard. And I know both of you, and Coach Rose is kind of laid back, but I've seen him snap a little bit. I'm sure, but that don't mean we trying to just demolish you.
Yes.
I mean, I'm gonna pat you on the back after the game and tell you I love you, but
yeah.
Well, I'll say this right here, you know, and this is what I share with my players. You know, you should be worried if I don't say anything else to you.
He says that all the time.
You should be worried then because I didn't quit on you.
time.
I didn't quit on you.
He says that all the time.
If I'm getting on you, it's because I'm holding you to a high expectation, and I see something in you that you might not see in yourself. And if I quit talking to you at your position, you should be worried.
And that's
That's
why
right.
Coach
all the
Wallace,
time.
Coach Wallace says something about. He tells that.
And I tell them, and that's so true, man, because listen, it's coach or not, parent, whatever your role is in a young person's life, we try to influence and we want to help you, but at some point, it's on you as an individual, no matter what your role is, whether you're a young person or you're working in some profession. If somebody's trying to pour into you, at some point you got to take it and put it to use. And you know, that's hitting the nail on the head right there. So
that's a good way to wrap it up, eh?
Well, Coach Simmons, man, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you for having me on.
Yes,
much appreciated.
And like I said, check out if you don't. Even our unscripted coaches stuff, just tell a friend about it. I mean, it's good comment. I mean, if you like entertainment, like Coach gives a lot of educational stuff, and we talk about things. Just pass it along.
I'll tell you this too. Even if you're not a coach, if you're a parent or a young athlete, I tell you, check it out. You don't have to watch it all, but Coach does a great job titling his episodes. Tune into some of that stuff, man. And if you really want it, and he talked about it, if you really want to go and play college ball, if that's something you're passionate about, whatever sport, there's something on his channel that I promise you need to hear, and it can help you. I mean, it really could. And
that's the goal. That's the goal. Yeah. The goal is to have something for everybody. So, for example, if you want to learn more about recruiting, well, guess what? I have 3 speakers up there: a college coach, a media/lead recruiter for Prep Red Zone, and another scout in the area that's talking about recruiting. So, so there's something for everybody up there, for coaches. For student athletes, parents, you know, so give it a follow.
Yeah, tap in, guys.
So don't worry about that second uncle that's giving you advice. Go to somebody who's been through it, and having a coach who does some stuff.
Yeah, been through the fire. Coach has obviously done that, and now he's living it, and he's pouring back into these kids. So, well, Coach, we appreciate your time, man.
Appreciate it.
Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe, Unscripted Coaches. See you next time.